Lately, there's been this sentiment going around that the Steam Deck can't play AAA games in 2023 and beyond. I've seen it on Reddit, I've seen it on Discord, I've seen it in YouTube comments, I've even seen it in the comments of my videos. When I said I was excited for Starfield on Steam Deck, I got a lot of comments saying that they seriously doubt it will run on Steam Deck or can't imagine Starfield to run above 20 FPS in general on the lowest settings with FSR to lowest quality setting, or my favorite, Steam Deck finna explode in your hands as soon as you start up Starfield. Well, now that Starfield is in advanced access and only a couple days away from official release, I think we have a pretty good understanding of how it performs and whether or not there's room for improvement. More importantly, this is one of the last big releases of the year for the PC, and it's a good chance to see how well the Steam Deck has done with AAA games this year. So we're going to take a look back and a look forward as we dig into this week's Steam Deck news.
Shoot.
Hey. You should really take a break. You know it's lunchtime. Grab a bite.
What? No, I finally made it to the end of Act 1. I have the house all to myself. These goblins keep cornering me. I don't have time for a meal. Besides, you know I'm trying to get fit. I'm not just going to eat Doritos and Mountain Dew.
You won't get fit if you don't eat. And you won't have to cook an entire meal either. Did you forget you have a Factor delivery?
That's right, Factor. I don't have to do any prep, cooking, or cleaning because Factor sent me fresh, never frozen meals, and they're ready in 2 minutes so that I can have a delicious lunch or dinner and then get back to business. These meals also fit my nutritional goals because I can go with Protein Plus, which means 30 grams or more of protein per serving, and they always include delicious veggies like the broccoli rice that came with my spicy poblano beef bowl. I've been using Factor this past week, and these meals check all the boxes. They taste great, I feel great after eating them, and they don't leave me hungry. Best of all, I'm excited to announce that you can get 50% off your first box using my code FANTADECK50 over on website factor75.com. That's right, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code FANTADECK50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring this video. First things first, let's talk about how Starfield performs on the Steam Deck. The TLDR is that Starfield performs well in smaller areas. It can hit a consistent 30 and even reach 40 FPS when indoors, but the frame rate struggles severely in cities. Even with the resolution set to potato, the frame rate is in the high teens to low 20s, sometimes dipping into the low teens. There are a few great videos showcasing gameplay on deck from folks like Gaming on Linux and Deck Wizard that I highly recommend, so I'll leave links to those in the description. That said, there are a few things to keep in mind. First of all, Starfield hasn't officially launched yet. We're talking about advanced access, which is only accessible to those that paid for the premium edition. To be clear, I don't really understand releasing a AAA game into early access a few days before the official release. Nonetheless, the point is that they are still working on making improvements to performance, and I also expect them to continue doing so after the official launch as well. The next thing I should note is that performance is CPU bound, and SteamOS still has a bug that is limiting CPU performance. Using cryutilities or disabling SMT may help you gain some performance, but I'll point out that Deck Wizard shows off the game using SteamOS 3.5, which is said to fix the bug, and he's still facing poor performance in large cities. The final thing to keep in mind is that it appears Microsoft, Bethesda, and of course Valve all seem to be working on making Starfield play better on the Steam Deck specifically. Valve has already fixed a few bugs the same night as the Advanced Access release, and you may already know that Bethesda released a patch that included a virtual keyboard for those that are playing on Steam Deck. It seems clear that both Valve and Bethesda know that people will be playing this game on the Steam Deck, and both parties are trying to accommodate those gamers as much as possible. That makes absolute sense considering how well Starfield is already doing on Steam. Even in this limited release, it's already the fourth biggest launch of the year behind Armored Core 6 and Resident Evil 4. It has already reached a peak of 230,000 concurrent players, and it's the top seller on Steam worldwide. All this, and you have to pay $100 to even play the game. So I guess from a business perspective, I guess I do understand this trend of advanced access. In any case, many of these players are already playing on Steam Deck and the reception is mixed, and while no one would say that the performance on Steam Deck is ideal, there seem to be many people that are enjoying the experience, and some are even gushing that it's possible to play this game on the deck at all. ETA Prime made a video praising how it plays on the Steam Deck, and Mudahar, aka Some Ordinary Gamer, said that the Steam Deck is a cozy way to play Starfield, and when asked how it performs, he said, "It runs well, sticks to 30 FPS, but dips a bit when in cities." He also said it reminds him of playing Witcher 3 on the Switch, fun to play in bed and continue on the main rig. I would say that this seems to be the consensus. It's a great second screen option, and if you're content with Switch ports of demanding games, then you're going to be fine with how this plays as well. But what do you think? Have you played Starfield on deck? And if you haven't, what do you think of the performance you've seen? Is it something you would still pick up if you only had a Steam Deck? And does it make you feel worried about the deck and how it's going to handle AAA games in the next year? Let me know in the comments. Given all that, I thought I'd revisit how big, demanding games from 2023 have performed on the Steam Deck, and I gotta say, overall, I'm impressed with how the Steam Deck has handled them. I also asked Noah from Steam Deck HQ, and he gave me some thoughts for each game as well. I'm also gonna use some videos from my friend Deck Wizard's channel to show off the gameplay on the Steam Deck, so shout out to both Steam Deck HQ and Deck Wizard for the assist on this, not to mention HTLL for putting this all together. Make sure to check their links in the description. Dead Space was one of the earliest big releases, and Noah said that a locked 30 or 40 FPS is perfect here and it runs and looks amazing on deck. This game is rated verified by Valve, and ProtonDB reports seem to agree. Dead Space gets a thumbs up on deck. Forspoken got a lot of mixed reviews, but as far as performance goes, Noah says it is possible to get 30 FPS, but there are too many drops to fully enjoy. Valve rated this unsupported, and ProtonDB reviews are mixed, so I say this gets a thumbs down, even though I would say it's playable. Hogwarts Legacy started off rough, but it got lots of patches and now performs well on deck. This was another CPU-bound game, and using cryo utilities was helpful. Hogwarts Legacy has also shown up on the top 20 played Steam Deck games every single month since its release, so yeah, I'd say this is a thumbs up. Returnal is an easy no. I have a video that shows how to make it somewhat playable, but it's not something I would recommend to anyone. Thumbs down. Atomic Heart and Like a Dragon Ishin are both easy thumbs up. The former did have that one snafu where graphical options were taken away on the Steam Deck, but that was resolved pretty quickly. Noah says the latter can even reach 40 FPS. Destiny 2 had a big DLC with Lightfall this year, and of course, Destiny just doesn't run on Linux at all. This is one of the Steam Deck's sore spots because it would be a good fit for the handheld, but it has yet to be made playable. Thumbs down.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Sons of the Forest is rated unsupported on deck, but performance has gotten considerably better since launch. In any case, the best reviews on ProtonDB still recommend waiting, so this is going to be a thumbs down. Resident Evil 4 runs surprisingly well on the deck, and that's how I primarily play this game. I'm not alone, since this was in the top 20 played games on the Steam Deck for the first 2 months of its release. No one can deny that The Last of Us Part 1 had poor performance when it launched. Noah has been tracking this game since it launched though, and he says an almost stable 30 FPS is now possible. The Last of Us gets a thumbs up now. It seems that both Wolong and Minecraft Legends were disappointing titles, but they play well on the Steam Deck. Wolong is verified, and Minecraft Legend falls short only due to its small text. Thumbs up. Jedi Survivor is unsupported, but you can get it to play pretty well if you install a mod and play around with the settings. It's doable, but not something I would recommend to the average player. Thumbs down. Diablo 4 plays remarkably well on the Steam Deck. Noah recommends a 40 FPS lock using FSR2. Of course, there's the matter of the Battle.net launcher, but that is easily surmountable. Thumbs up. Street Fighter gameplay gets a solid 60, and Ratchet & Clank plays great at 40 FPS. Both games are verified, and Street Fighter 6 has made it to the top played games on the Steam Deck. Easy thumbs up. Funny enough, Exoprimal has no ProtonDB reports for the Steam Deck. Still, it's rated playable, and Noah says it runs well at 30 FPS. Thumbs up. Remnant 2 stirred up some drama when it launched, but several patches later, it's gotten to perform much better. Not only is it verified, but it remains one of the top played deck games. Another thumbs up. Much has been said about Baldur's Gate 3 performance. Performance in the early game is pretty good, but by the time you make it to Act 3, you will be struggling. It's verified, and it actually made the top played deck games in August. I'm sure it's going to do it again in September. Despite that, I feel compelled to give it a thumbs down due to late game performance. Like Street Fighter 6 and Ratchet, Armored Core 6 is a model game on the Steam Deck. Noah says most missions run at a stable 45, and with a 30 FPS lock, you can save some battery life and have a great time. Easy thumbs up. Thank you, From Software. Finally, given its current pre-release state, I think Starfield does get a thumbs down overall, but I expect it's going to be one of the most top played games on deck this month, and more importantly, I think that things will improve for this game just as they did for The Last of Us Part 1, Forspoken, Hogwarts Legacy, Sons of the Forest, and more. In fact, that leads me to my final conclusion about 2023 games on the Steam Deck. I listed off more than 20 games and about 2/3 of them get a thumbs up, about the same are verified, and the remaining third are playable to some degree. They're not necessarily an experience I would recommend, but people are going to play Starfield on deck in droves just as they did with Baldur's Gate 3. I think that as we see with the Switch, people are willing to deal with frame rates in the low 20s just to play on a handheld, and I can't blame them because even though I don't recommend the experience, I do it myself. I'm not going to sit here and pretend all the games I play on the deck enjoy a perfectly stable 30 frames per second. I knew going in that this is what I was signing up for, but the truth is I rarely ever play games on my main rig or on my PS5, so for me it's not really a decision between a nice frame rate on my main rig and a bad frame rate on a handheld. I'm pretty much always going to go for the handheld, for better or worse. But what about you? What score do you give the Steam Deck for how it has handled AAA games? Do you even care about AAA games? Let me know in the comments. Real quick, I also wanted to point out that the hardware survey and top 20 Steam Deck games for August were just published as well. There's not a lot to say with regard to the hardware survey. The Steam Deck and Linux numbers haven't moved very much. The top 20 list is fun because it contains Armored Core 6, Baldur's Gate 3, and HoloCure, all fun games. And also, I noticed now that there are 4 Survivor games now in the top 20 list. You all have some good taste. Anyway, hope you're all having a wonderful week, and until next time, Deck Gang out. Goodbye!